Alright, in this video, I'm going to teach you guys an invaluable lesson when it comes to landscape photography, and that's how to focus stack. Alright guys, so in this video, like I said, I'm going to show you how to focus stack. A lot of times when we get out here with landscapes, there's hyperfocal focus just doesn't do it, right? Sometimes you've got something interesting in the foreground, but then you've got an interesting background and you want everything sharp and in focus. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to walk you through all the steps on how to get a complete sharp photo from front to back using a set of, I generally use 3 images to create the basically hyper-focused image, or the focus stacked image, right? So this is what I'm going to show you how to do in this video. Okay, as you can see here, I've got my scene, I've got my camera all set up, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I pick my points for focusing, and then once we get the 3 images together, then we're going to go home, we're going to load them into the computer, and then I'm going to show you how we finish the focus stacking in Photoshop. Okay, so I have my scene here on my camera. I have the touchscreen focus enabled, so that way this is gonna make it a lot easier. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus here in the front, right, almost as close as I can. I want to be able to get all of this and this in focus in this shot. And I'm also shooting, now this is a Fuji GFX system, so it's you know, it's going to be the f-stop's f14, which is more like a 12.5. So that's about where I'd want to be. I'd want to be a little bit lower, but just for this purpose, to get everything sharp. So then basically I'm going to take the picture, right? Then once that's done, I'm going to focus over here about halfway through the frame. A bit further up. There we go. I'm going to take that image, and then I'm going to focus on the mountain clear in the back and take that image. Okay, so now if I go into my playback, I got 1, 2, 3 images. So those are the 3 images I'm going to use for my focus stack. Alright, so I have another scene here that I've picked out. I've got this dead Joshua tree on the ground, and this is going to be a 2 stack focus, so 2 photos, still focus stacking, but just 2 and not the 3. Okay, so you can see I've got my scene right here. I'm going to focus right on the edge of the dead Joshua tree, right on the back, and I'm going to go ahead and got my exposure right now. I'm going to take that shot, and then I'm going to focus right back there on the mountains. Take that shot, and then again we're going to go into Photoshop and we're going to blend those 2 together. Alright, so we got the shots that we needed. Let's head back home and let me show you how we put them together on the computer. Alright, so we're back at home. We're in my loft studio, and we're going to pull up those images, and I'm going to go ahead and walk you through the steps of how I use Bridge in Lightroom to put the focus stack together. Okay, so as you can see, I've got my computer up and going right now. I'm going to go ahead and click Bridge. I'm not a big Lightroom user. I use Lightroom for certain things, but for stuff like this, I definitely need to use Photoshop. Is how I've always used it. I feel like it works the best for me. So, and I feel like once you get these steps down, it's pretty easy to follow. All right, so now we have to find our focus stacked images. So here's the set of images that I took for the first focus stack, the stack of 3, right? So we have 1, and then hold the control button, all right, and then click the second one, and then the third one. So now you have your 3 images selected here. Now you're going to go to File, Open in Camera Raw. And that's going to bring up the 3 images. Now, from here, what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and make your global adjustments, kind of like you would while you're in Lightroom. You don't want to go fully heavily into it. You just want to go ahead and get it looking the way that you want it to look, so that way you can put it into Photoshop and actually work on the image. This is sort of like the pre-work, I guess you would say. Okay, so now that I've done some, global adjustments and gotten the picture to where I kind of want it to be, to where I want it to start with when I actually do get the files loaded into Photoshop, here's what you're going to do. You're going to sync the settings to the other 3, so that way everything is exactly the same. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold Shift key, you're going to select on the last image so it selects all of them. You're going to go to the 3 dots right here, okay? And sync settings, and everything looks right, and you're going to hit OK. And then as you can see, it just globally changes the other 2. Now that you have those 3 images and they're ready, we're going to go all the way over here to where it says Open, and we're going to open. And what that's going to do is that's going to open them up in Photoshop for us. So what it's going to do is it's actually going to open up each individual photo in its own separate space. Okay, so now all 3 images are uploaded into Photoshop. So now as you can see here, I have 1, 2, 3 images to work with, right? And here's how we're going to focus stack or load all the files into a single image or into a single workspace for us to stack the files, right? So we're going to go to File, we're going to go down to where it says Scripts, and we're going to go where it says Load Files into a Stack. All right, once that happens, it's going to bring up this window. Now, you could have saved the files into a file and then open them up. But the reason why I'm showing you it the way I do it is because it makes it a lot easier. So you just go Add Open Files, and it basically loads the 3 images that you already have loaded into the workspace. And then I always click Attempt to automatically align source images. So Photoshop is going to do its best to automatically align those images. And what it's doing right now is it's loading all 3 images into one single file or workspace, and then it's trying to load each one on top of each other. And you can always see that right here on the edge, it doesn't always align. It's pretty close, but what you have to understand, especially with file or focus stacked images, is usually the first image in the sequence, there's a little bit of focus breathing. And that's why it's just slightly off. But that's why I always, when I go to do photos like this, I always shoot maybe a little wider than I need to account or correct that. Okay, so now if we look at our workspace, we have all 3 images stacked in over here into the workspace, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to hold the Shift key again, click the top image, so we select all of them. Right? You could go into layer and select all layers. I just like to work a little more faster or efficiently. And then you go into Edit, and you're going to go down here where it says Auto Blend Layers. So you click Auto Blend Layers, and so if you're doing a panoramic, this would also work for that too. You could hit panoramic and then it could blend it. As far as a panoramic goes, you hit the sequences together. Sorry about that, but you could do that too. But right now we're doing a focus stacked image, so I hit Stack Images and hit OK. And now what it's going to do is it's going to blend those selected layers on based on content. So that's why I always click the auto alignment So that way it makes Photoshop, it kind of makes it easier for Photoshop to blend those layers together. And so then what it's going to do is it's going to blend all the images together, and then it's going to create essentially layer masks over here with the parts that are already in focus. All right, so now it's finished. As you can see, it's got a little bit of cropping that we're going to have to do. Not a lot. It's very, very minimal. Again, that's why I say I always try to shoot a little wider than maybe I mean to when I'm doing focus stacked images, to kind of account for that layering, especially because of that first photo, that focus breathing. I've done this enough times. I kind of understand that now. If you go here and look over at our workspace, you can see where it's masked out the parts that are in focus. So that way you get a completely in focused front to back image, and that's what we were looking for, right? You can see your original three images are here, and now they've had it all filtered into one image or one workspace called Untitled. So you can actually close these out. I don't need to save those. And then that way, now I know I'm working on the focus stacked image right here, right? And then for me, what I like to do is I like to make a copy of all three. So what I do is I hold Shift, Control, Alt, and then I hit E, and then that will basically copy everything, all layers that are down underneath of it, and it creates it into one single workspace layer, which I like to then work off of, because I don't want to touch these three layers down here at all. I don't want to do that. Now you could you could flatten the image and do it that way. I kind of like doing it this way, so that way I can always go back to the original layer that I created and start to work off that. But this is just how I do it. I've been doing this for quite a while, so I mean, this is the way I like doing it. I feel like it's the most efficient way I've come across. But if we go into our image here, let's zoom in, and you can see this is all sharp. This is all sharp over here. And if we move around, we can see that the detail is still really sharp through here and over in here, right? And if we go up to our mountains, you know, we can see that our mountains are really sharp. They're really in focus. Control 0, go back. And so we get a super sharp, clean image from front to back. And then that way, when you go to print the image, you know, you're going to be able to print a really, really large image and have really nice quality front to back. And that's really the point of this, right? So then now we can just hit Control 0, go back to the original. We can hit crop, and we can just bring the corner in just a hair, and then bring this corner in just a hair. And then that should get rid of that edge, essentially. And now you have a image to work on. And now you can go through your post-processing steps and finalize this image. And then you have one perfectly focus stacked image. All right, so now we're going to work on our second image, the two image focus stack. So again, we have our bridge. We have one, and then we have two. Our two images right here. So again, we're going to go open in Camera Raw. And it's basically the exact same steps. You're going to go through, you're going to correct, you know, get these looking the way you want it to look. And then once you've gotten that down, you're going to go ahead and follow the exact same steps as what we did before. You're basically going to get them into Photoshop. and then create the blend of the focus images. Okay, so now that we've got them somewhat adjusted, we're going to go ahead and hit open again, just like we did before. And then it's going to load those 2 images into Photoshop, just like how it loaded the 3 before. And once it loads the 2 images, we're going to follow the exact same steps as we did with the 3. All right, so now we've got our 2. We're going to go File, Scripts, Load Files into a stack, Add Open Files, attempt to align automatically or automatically align source images, hit OK. And then that's going to create your 3rd workspace with the 2 images loaded into the workspace. And then once they're in there, you can see again there's a little bit of alignment that's off. That's okay. You're going to go ahead and hold Shift, click the top layer. We're going to go to Edit, Auto Blend Layers, again Stack Images, and hit OK. And there you go. Now you have your layer mask and what's in focus. So again, I'm going to hit Control-Shift-E, create that base layer, and then now Control-0, we're going to zoom in, and you can see now we've got all of this in focus, which is what we're really after. And then you can see our mountains and everything back here are all in focus too. All this has a lot of detail in it. Everything looks exactly how you would want it to look in a focus stacked images or image. And then now you can see like that little bit of where it doesn't perfectly align. So again, we'll go Control-0 to go back out. We'll go to our crop tool, and we're just gonna slightly crop in here, and then we're gonna slightly crop in here, and click OK, and there you go. And like I said, that's the whole reason why I shoot a little wider on these shots. It's just to account for that alignment issue and that focus breathing issue. But now we've got, and this was the 2 image stack. So again, perfectly in focus front to back. Go ahead and work on it like you normally would, and then you have a perfect image. You know, you have a perfectly sharp image, something that you can really print, hang on a wall, sell, whatever you like to do with your images. All right, guys, so that's going to be it for this video. I hope you really found this information useful. Best thing to do in these cases is to go out and practice, right? Go out and do. So go out, shoot photos, figure out something that you would like to try this on, and follow these steps. And then tell me in the comments below whether this video helped you or not, or really kind of helped you learn a new skill when it comes to photography. You know, that's what this video was all about, and that's what I like to do, is really help and teach people. So if you liked it, definitely give me a like. Don't forget to comment, and don't forget to subscribe to see more videos like this. See you in another video.